tuning in to the next episode of Major Masters, episode 2. As always, my name is Matt, co-host Megan.
Hi.
Ben.
Hi.
And we have a special guest here, Tim.
How's it going?
Today we're going to be talking about our favorite consoles, a few of the games that help define those consoles, and see what you guys think about them. Starting us off today, we're going to have Tim.
Alright, so as you said, I'm a special guest today, but I'm a video game enthusiast. I would say the one system that has really defined my video game experience has been the Xbox 360. The Call of Duty 4 was my first really multiplayer experience. It's where I started putting in hundreds of hours of video game playtime, and eventually started going to tournaments, playing stuff like that for money, and it really kind of defined. Yeah, I didn't win anything, but I tried.
So you didn't
play for money. You lost money in tournaments.
You know,
that's like buying scratch tickets, but never win.
Listen, it's the principle.
Meg, you're clearly a teacher.
But
give the man a ribbon.
But
Yeah,
so Call of Duty 4 was the first multiplayer experience, and then the Dragon Age games were my first, I would say, RPG experience beyond World of Warcraft, where I kind of just put in a ridiculous amount of time mastering the game, playing at the highest level I could. And so yeah, those are definitely the games that inspired me to keep going. Gears of War, I played a lot of, and so yeah, the Xbox 360 has definitely impacted my life more than the others that I've owned quite a few, but that's where I became a gamer, was on a console on 360.
Very nice. Another Xbox fan.
Mm-hmm.
No, only two in the room. How about that?
Yeah. Now, what about you, Ben?
Well, it certainly wasn't the Xbox, Matt. Sorry.
Can't have all winners in this room.
Right. Just two sane people and two who, yeah. Anyway, for me it was the Super Nintendo with the SNES. I'll never forget the moment I got it. My parents were pretty sly. If you believe in Santa, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do to you. But at the time, I did. Spoilers! So at the time, growing up, we didn't really know what we were going to get for Christmas. And we came down in the morning, and all the presents were under the tree, and we opened everything, and it was great. And, it was good. We didn't get any systems or anything like that. And then we went to the living room, and I was just going to play regular Nintendo, because that's what we used to have set up, or NES, for you older folks. And all of a sudden, where the regular Nintendo was, there was a Super Nintendo. And my dad had set it up the night before and hooked it all up and plugged it all in, and that was amazing. Like, we didn't think we had anything else. We didn't expect it. And it was fantastic, and it came with Super Mario World, which was an amazing game. If you've never played it, I spent hours and hours just trying to find the Star Road and the different color Yoshis, and I loved that game. And then, this stuff doesn't happen anymore, but back then, I don't remember what you had to do, but my dad did it. You had to send in like the UPC from your box and like something else, and they'd send you Super Mario All-Stars for free. Do you guys remember that? Did any of you do that? No.
Never.
So that's okay. I just remember the commercial on TV. The guy was like dressed like a magician. He was like, "Oh, here comes the Silver All-Stars," and so that was exciting. And so he did that, and they mailed it to us for free. And that had Mario from NES, Mario 2, Mario 3, and then the Lost Levels, which was basically the real Mario 2 that wasn't just a rip-off and a copy of another game from Japan.
Yeah.
So we spent hours playing that. And I mean, there's so many good Super Nintendo games we played. Street Fighter 2, Turbo, Tetris Attack. I mean, I can't tell you.
Star Wars.
Super Star Wars. Yeah, we were talking about that today. That's a piece of work. I could go on forever, but I love Super Nintendo, and if I had to pick, that would absolutely be my favorite. What about you, Meg?
So I do, before I get into my actual system, I do have to say honorable mention to Super Nintendo, because that is how I got into gaming in the first place. My older cousin, he got into PC gaming, if you will, even back then. And so he's like, I don't want this.
5.25
I know, right? I can't even think of what it was back then.
DOS prompts.
But he was like, I don't need this.
/Wolf3D.
something weird like that. Anyway, he didn't want a Super Nintendo. He's like, here, you want it? And yeah, of course. So, and that is how I accidentally.
Super Nintendo.
I know, it's kind of weird in retrospect, but anyway, that's what happened, and that's how I got my first system. And if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be into gaming. So, anywho, special shout out to Super Nintendo. But my favorite system, and it's tough, but for me, it has to be the PlayStation 2. That's where things really, really took off for me in terms of gaming, and especially appreciating it as an art form too. Because before Super Nintendo and 64, all I knew was Nintendo, and if I was, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was the only game I had beaten, I think, to that point.
That was a great game, though.
Yes, it was, and of course I needed help because of the Water Temple, which is another topic for another day.
Yeah.
But,
Water
anywho,
Temple.
yeah, and that was like the first time I'd use a guide too. But anywho, fast forward, I had an Xbox. Me and my brother, we kind of, got in together on that because he was all very much, we got to get that and Halo and all this. And I was like, all right, and Halo was great, don't get me wrong. But it wasn't until it wasn't until PlayStation 2 that I really got hooked on, let's say JRPGs, and all of the exclusives back then for PlayStation and Sony were just ridiculous. Metal Gear, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy, numerous JRPGs, which I can't even, the Tales games, I'm trying to think, Grandia, just all of these things, and they just completely sucked you in, and it was...
Sounds like your childhood.
Yeah. Sucked you in. Thanks. So, and just getting involved in these games, and like Final Fantasy X was my first Final Fantasy, and dumping in 100 hours into that, which, never done before. Devil May Cry, which is still one of my favorite games. Metal Gear, getting exposed to all that, and it was just ridiculous. And then later on, they had things like Shadow of the Colossus and Ico and Okami. There's so many games. Just the hours alone and the number of games, which I think the library for the PlayStation 2, even with everything we have nowadays, I don't think anything compares. I think there are strong games in every system, but I don't think the breadth of quality and quantity, I don't think nothing ever.
What about
really.
Guitar Hero? Did you play that?
No, I didn't. I never played any of the music games.
Rock Band.
Sorry. No, I never did.
Both of them are amazing.
They are.
I have heard, but I just never... I tried... What did we try that one time?
Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero. I tried that, which was ridiculous because I didn't do any tutorials. I just went into it cold.
We did
Trying to-
Guitar Hero, and
That
then we did
was-
Rock Band when our friend Eric came in and brought the whole band.
Eric, yes.
And
Eric, yes. And
Tried to
that
jam
was
out.
just ridiculous. And
We've
I'm
had
like,
2 episodes, and we brought Eric up in bold.
yes.
We'll put a picture of him behind us. I'll give you his yoga picture.
Oh my
He'll never talk to me
Now I
again.
want to see this. I don't know what it is, but... So, yes, for me, PlayStation 2, and ever since PlayStation 2, sorry, that was my first PlayStation system. I never had a PlayStation 1, so PlayStation 2, and ever since then, I have been a Sony diehard fan. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and I'm not jumping ship anytime soon, so that would be me.
What about you, Matt?
well, first off, I have to say that PS2 I have to thank for being alive in this gaming world, because the PS2 games are what brought me and her together. But for me, where it all
They're
started...
dating, if you didn't know that. We have
Yes.
you did not know.
Sorry.
They're not creepy. It's not a brother-sister thing.
Yeah.
They're a couple.
Oh.
Yeah. It explains a lot more now. But as for me, it originally started at the original Nintendo Entertainment System. And thanks to Nintendo, all the systems that we just talked about, Nintendo didn't hit the nail on the head. I don't think any of these would have actually happened. But yeah, originally I started at the Atari 2600, and kind of just like how Megan said, my cousin had a Nintendo, and at a Christmas party, I was in his bedroom playing it. My parents saw me seeing what I was doing, and they decided to get me one.
It's amazing how much money parents will spend on things that will keep their kids quiet.
Yeah.
It's an important thing. You would know.
I most certainly do.
But yeah, to me, Nintendo had a lot of great games that had,
I was waiting for your game list.
Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers.
You
You ever hear somebody say it that way?
No.
That's not the Italian way to say it. My mother-in-law is Italian and Sicilian. She would never say Mario. Stop doing that.
It's a me, I'm Mario.
Thank you.
So we have Super Mario Brothers, Castlevania, just kind of like Ben with the UPC. If you actually subscribed to Nintendo Power, they actually gave you Dragon Warrior, the very first one.
Ooh,
And that's what actually got me into role-playing games. Never even had any interest in them, but I was like, hey, it's a free game. And I just remember putting that in, and I was hooked. I had to go all the way through. And if any of you guys played it, that Silver Slime, what a pain.
I have a question for you. We're almost at the end of the episode, but did you ever play the Ninja Turtles game?
Yes, I did.
And?
On Nintendo.
That's what I meant.
I never beat it.
Okay. Did you ever get to the water level?
I got to the sewers, if that's the water level you're talking about. No? Well, oh yes, the swimming level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Electrified coral and...
Yeah.
Okay, if there
I'm pretty sure nobody ever made it past that.
I think all four of us can vouch for this. If any video game companies or people that work for video companies ever watch this show, water levels are the worst. Never make
I can't think
Do
of
not-
a single game I've played where I enjoyed the water level.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah, don't make water levels. You know how they have Dark Souls, that's the hardest game? You guys should make one that's called like Water Souls, where it's all water levels.
Or
I don't think anybody
maybe
would
they
buy
call
it.
it Water World.
Yeah, well,
That's a movie.
No,
yes. No.
no, it's not.
Whoa. Wave Racer 64 was fun.
That's not a water level.
You're on
That's not a water level.
the water.
That's
Never
just
mind.
because there's water in a game doesn't make it a water level.
Okay,
Actually,
alright.
I think the only water
We're
levels that
talking
actually
swimming underwater,
were decent
specifically.
enough to work were the ones in Super Mario Brothers.
I'm thinking
You just press the
platformers-
button to swim, and then if you had the firepower, you just press the other button to shoot fire.
They still weren't enjoyable.
They weren't, but at least
It was just something you had to work your way through.
Sure.
Like a diet or a hike. You're just trying to get to the end.
True.
It's not. You're not enjoying the trip.
No.
Sorry.
Does the cruise liner in Uncharted 3 sinking count? Because that was kind of awesome.
I don't.
That was turning into a water
Fleeing
level,
for your
and then Naughty Dog was like, you know what? We're not making this a water level.
Okay.
Let's get this out of here.
Well, I think that's it, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Comment down at the bottom. Let us know what systems you liked, what games actually made you fall in love with them. If you can, like, share, even subscribe to this channel. We would love to hear more about what you would like to see on this show, so feel free. Hit us up anytime. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, guys. Good night, guys.
Shame.